Clayton Kershaw is out until at least August, while the Dodgers take sole possession of first place. The Rams finally sign all of their draft picks. Kudos. And Phillip Rivers couldn't win a Super Bowl, but he's the unquestioned MVP of Team Raw Dog. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is July 15th, 2023. I am enjoying a lovely tornado-filled morning here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. What the hell? It's a cool breeze, guys. Sure, it might pick you up and throw you down in Louisiana, but it's all in good fun. If you enjoy being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means, comment. There's always good stuff to talk about when it comes to LA sports. So before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Yes, the Dodgers are back, all alone in first place with a 6-0 victory over the New York Mets. Julio Urias and the bullpen combined for the shutout. JD Martinez hit a home run. Freddie Freeman, he drove in two with a double. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers and Mets again at 4:15. Tony Gonsolin, he's 5-3 with a 3.86 ERA. Kodai Senga, what a very singable name. He is 7-5 with a 3.31 ERA. LAFC is at Minnesota at 5:30. The Black and Gold a couple of days ago, they snapped a 3-game MLS match winless streak. They are now back in the winning column. And it's Galaxy game day. They are in Vancouver at 7:30. Now, the Whitecaps have the last playoff spot in the Western Conference. The Galaxy are currently 6 points behind, but they do have a 7-game unbeaten streak. So very important match today for the Galaxy. Clayton Kershaw told the Scribes that he will miss, quote, a few weeks, unquote, with his bulky left shoulder. And this is a little bit troubling because he was supposed to be coming off the injured list today. Basically what had happened, they gave him another MRI. They put a cortisone injection in his shoulder. The doctor told him that he just basically needs to let that injection take hold, rest the shoulder, don't do anything on it. And look, everybody loves Clayton Kershaw in LA. With good reason. Aside from the fact that he's been a terrific pitcher, he's been a humanitarian, but man, ever since 2015, that dude loves him some disabled list. He's been on the injured list 11 times in the last 8 years. Mercy. Now, Dave Roberts is even being a little bit more vague about the whole thing. He's hemming and hawing. Remember, when this whole thing went down, it was, oh, yeah, he just needs a couple of days of rest for the inflammation to go down. Now we're talking August. A month? It's supposed to be a few days. At what point do we start getting extremely skeptical of the reports coming from the Dodgers trading department, the medical staff? Just asking. It was a big day overall for transactions with the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw, yes, was supposed to come off the injured list. That did not happen, but Chris Taylor did. And that, too, was after being on the injured list for about a month. In his case, it was a bone bruise to a knee. Shelby Miller was transferred from the 15-day injured list to the 60-day injured list. Dave Roberts said they expect Miller to return from neck pain. They just think it'll be another 5 weeks. Again, let's just add a month. I am starting to wonder, though. Now, let me get back to that in a moment. With all the roster moves, there was another that was made. Johnny DeLuca, he was sent back to AAA Oklahoma City. And I mentioned this to Mr. DeLuca because I feel your pain, sir. I feel your pain. Sucks for us both. But I am wondering whether or not to respect this last Dodger note I want to give to you guys. LA has added a former Dodgers outfielder, Jake Marisnick. Yes, Houston Astros outfielder Jake Marisnick. He did, in fact, play for the team that basically stole a championship from Los Angeles back in the day. Just cheated their way to the title. Why do I say that part of me wants to respect this? It's because he's not going to talk about what happened in that World Series with us, but he is going to talk about it with his teammates if they want. In other words, he is attempting to at least take ownership for whatever role he may have played in that scandal. Now, to be fair, they're still baseball players. And if you know baseball players, and I mean, I may not know the current generation, but I used to cover sports. Oh, I know baseball players. They're digging into him pretty good. And he's basically saying, you know what, I can take it. I get it. A lot of it's in jest anyway. So, welcome to the team, guy. Welcome to the team. The Rams have signed third-round pick defensive end Byron Young to his rookie contract, as did rookie defensive lineman Kobe Turner. Ta-da! The Rams have finally signed all of their draft picks. It only took them 78 days. 78. I gotta tell you, imagine all the things that have gone on over the course of 78 days. Don't you? I was starting to sit there and think that it was going to be that the COVID lockdowns were going to wind up being shorter than the amount of time that it would have taken for the Rams to sign all their draft picks, right? 70, wouldn't we have all loved 78 days to stop the spread, right? I always thought that we've been told since before 78 days that the Russians had lost to the Ukrainians. What the hell? I was starting to equate the Rams contract negotiations, yes, with international armed conflict and pandemic lockdowns. That's how long it took for the Rams to finally figure out how to put a dollar sign on a piece of paper. And by the way, there's not really negotiations when it comes to NFL draft picks. There's a scale. It was argued and agreed upon with the players' union. If you're pick number 1, you're going to get X. If you're pick number 251, you're going to get Y, which is going to be a lot lower than X. But the fact that it took 78 days to get anybody to sign their contracts, man, somebody in that room was being real stubborn. The Rams have also signed a free agent tight end, Nikola Kalanick. He was waived by the Colts in May. Look, this is not a needle mover, honestly. He played for 3 teams last year. His only stat last year was 1 kickoff return for 15 yards. He's more of a special teams guy, even though he is named a tight end. Phillip Rivers and his wife, the former Chargers quarterback, that being Phillip, not the wife, they are expecting their 10th child. 10th. And we knew, if you knew anything about the Rivers family, you knew it was only going to be a matter of time, right? The guy spent all those years misfiring in the playoffs to get back to the one place where he knew how to fire off on target. And I can appreciate that, I suppose. Look, the couple don't have a name for the baby boy just yet. It is a boy, they know that. The child is going to be born in October. And the Rivers clan, check this out, they range in age from 4 to 21. The oldest Rivers kid can buy beer for the infant if he so chooses. And trust me, as a Catholic, I can tell you, there's a lot of drinking going on in the Catholic family sometimes. I just look at this and wonder, how real can I afford to be when I talk to you guys about this? The Rivers family, they're all Catholic. I'm Catholic. And look, I'm not trying to be political about this, but traditional religious families, they do tend to value having a lot more kids than secular ones. Not a passing of judgment, it just simply is, right? I'll be honest with you, I wish my parents stopped earlier. there might have been a little less tension in the house. I might have gotten a few fewer ass whippings when I was a kid. I get it. I do understand the counter argument about not having as many kids, but Phillip Rivers isn't asking the state to take care of his kids. He and his wife are doing it. It's within the context of a marriage, so these kids are getting a full family experience. Not to judge single women, it just is what it is. But I also work in healthcare, and I know the damage that childbirth does to the female body, right? Not only that, there's a lot of recommendations in the healthcare industry that suggest women should stop at 3 kids because of the profound damage that it does down there. So as a practicing Catholic, would you please join me if you are a person of faith? And today, say a rosary for Mrs. Rivers' uterus. Say a rosary for her uterus that it recovers. There's 50 Hail Marys, about 5 Hail Marys per Rivers kid should cover it, right? It feels like it's the right thing to do on the weekend. We all have a little extra time. Just go off, light a candle at your local church, take a few moments, drop to your knees. 5 Hail Marys per Rivers kid should cover the trick. Yeah. Say a prayer, or in this case, many of them, for Mrs. Rivers' uterus. Also for the Chargers, Austin Eckler, he's again complaining about his pay. He went on the Rich Eisen show and talked about how number 3 receivers make more than he does. Yeah, they do. But here's the deal. You're not making an argument, or you haven't been making an argument, to be paid like a number 3 receiver. You've been making an argument since the end of last season that you are an elite running back and you should be paid as an elite running back. You're not an elite running back. That's not the case. An NFL executive, now granted, he went unnamed, but an NFL executive nonetheless, told ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that Eckler is, quote, not an elite or major impact player, unquote. In other words, despite this belief that Austin Eckler is a scoring threat and a dual threat, and oh my God, he is the Chargers version of Alvin Kamara, which he's not, he isn't, he can be replaced. He's getting all those catches, not because he's Austin Eckler. He's getting those catches because that's the way that the Chargers offense worked. It's called check down. It's very common in football. And by the way, let's talk for a half second about elite running backs. The Raiders still have not extended the contract of Josh Jacobs. That is an elite running back. That tells you how the market is going. Joe Mixon, by the way, restructured his deal to stay in Cincinnati. He bargained himself down to stay in Cincinnati. In other words, Austin Eckler is not better than Joe Mixon. Austin Eckler damn sure ain't better than Josh Jacobs. It's simply a matter of the times. And you're not going to be able to squeeze money away from your quarterback to pay for you. It's just that simple. Max Christie suffered a hip strain in Summer League for the Lakers a couple of days ago. Don't read a lot into that. It's a strain. He should be just fine for training camp. And meanwhile, for the Clippers, Russell Westbrook has purchased part of Leeds United. It's a soccer team that was relegated from the Premier League over in Great Britain to second-tier Champions League. Let me know what you think is going on in the comments thread. Talk to me about the Dodgers and their weird history of injury reports, how inaccurate they tend to be. Tell me what you think about the Rams defensive line finally having all of their draft picks signed. And we already know what we have to do for the Rivers family. But if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back later tonight with a Galaxy Rapid recap. And Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.